news with the extra torch. This Wednesday is expectedly an exciting one, what with the unfolding drama of invasion at the National Assembly and loss of the Senate mace. We have that story and matters arising. Also tonight, it's game on for the APC as party releases timetable for congresses and national convention. In London, the president has been busy at the CHOGM and other activities get towards bringing investments into the country. Now, the recurring issue of herdsmen and farmers clashes won't just go away, but so also are solutions being advanced to curb them. We have such efforts tonight. Of course, it's Wednesday and the Federal Executive Council did not miss its meeting, which focused on projects implementation. You know we won't be done without some businesses and business-related stories, agriculture, and the usual foreign news, sports, and the weather prospects for Thursday. You just sit back and let's bring you up to date on the news with the Extra Torch. I am Sheung Olagunju. Welcome to News Extra. The mace all around the world is a symbol of national authority and one that legitimizes all legislative processes in parliamentary institutions. It also serves as a symbol of democracy. This internationally recognized symbol was the target of unknown persons who trespassed on the National Assembly and disrupted Wednesday's Senate plenary. National Assembly correspondent Dennis Adegunloye brings details of the disorder caused by the unknown persons who succeeded in their mission to cart away the mace from the National Assembly.
It was seemingly a normal day on the floor of the Senate with the usual adoption of votes and proceedings. Then suddenly some unknown who tagged behind recently suspended senator representing Delta Central, Ovie Omo Agege, stormed chambers attacking sergeant-at-arms officials and making their way towards the mace. An executive session was immediately convened, after which Deputy Speaker of the House of Representatives, Yusuf Lassun, led several members on a solidarity visit to their Senate colleagues.
They passed through this entrance, passed through all the gates, and left the National Assembly with that mess. They attempted kidnapping 2 of our senators. They were eventually left. But we decided that will not be intimidated by any circumstance.
Members decided eventually that we must visit here, so solidarize not with you alone, to tell Nigerians that this State Assembly is going to make sure that democracy must work in Nigeria.
Thank the Deputy Speaker and our colleagues from the House of Representatives. I want to assure you that we refuse to be intimidated. We're going to carry out our assignment fully. We've decided to go through everything on our other papers today.
The legislators urged security agencies to spare no effort in retrieving the mace within 24 hours.
So we're giving the Inspector General of Police and the Director SSS to recover our mace within 24 hours.
Meanwhile, Senator representing Delta Central, Ovie Omo Agege, was escorted out at the conclusion of plenary. From the National Assembly, Dennis Adegunloye, NTA News.
Meanwhile, Senate President Bukola Saraki has commended the leadership and members of the Senate for standing firmly in defense of democracy and the rule of law with their decision to defy those who organized the attack on the Senate chamber. Speaking in which the mace was forcefully taken away. Speaking from Washington, where he is attending the spring meetings of the World Bank and the International Monetary Fund, the Senate President also lauded the swift reaction by the leadership and members of the House of Representatives in demonstrating their solidarity with the Senate and thereby sending a strong signal that enemies of democracy will not undermine the legislature. And the House of Representatives has condemned the snatching of the maize at the Senate chamber. This came when the House resumed Wednesday's plenary after House members visited the Senate in solidarity.
In any democracy, the legislature remains constant and remains the most vital organ of any democracy. And it is for this reason that I believe this motion and this issue is of vital importance if we want to sustain and keep and nurture our democracy.
Sir, we must also come to the realization that whoever did it were not a bunch of ragtag thugs. There were people who were trained to do that which they have done.
We should stand up and stand on our oaths to see that there is peace, there is justice.
You know, it is equally important if we have to follow by emotion what happened in the Senate, and we even in the first instance decided not to come and sit today, it will have been a war won by those who came to attack us. The mere fact that we are sitting and we are deliberating shows that we know what we are doing.
Meanwhile, Vice President Yemi Osinbajo has sympathized with the Senate over the invasion of the chamber and promised to join forces with them to get to the root of the matter to ensure that such never happens again. State House correspondent Jide Onifade reports that this was when the Deputy Senate President, Ike Ekweremadu, paid an unscheduled visit to the Vice President to brief him on the incident at the Parliament.
Because for us, it's a threat to our democracy. The invasion of the parliament is not acceptable to any person. It's not acceptable to me, it's not acceptable to my colleagues, it's not acceptable to the vice president. I believe it's not also acceptable to the president. So those who acted this script must be on their own. So all we need to do as a country is to ensure that this is forestalled. And I want to appeal to the media to help us to discourage this kind of brigandage, and so that people have to behave in a very responsible manner. But let me assure you that we're on top of the situation. We'll continue our sitting today and we're going to continue tomorrow.
Earlier incident at the Senate, the All Progressives Congress APC has condemned the invasion by suspected thugs to the National Assembly who took away the maize at the Senate chamber, describing the incident as an attack on the nation's democracy and the desecration of the hallowed institution of the National Assembly. In a statement by Bolaji Abdullahi, the National Publicity Secretary of the APC, the party called on security agencies to take all necessary actions to recover the stolen maize and ensure that the perpetrators and their sponsors are brought to justice. Meanwhile, the federal government has expressed shock at the invasion of the National Assembly and the subsequent snatching of the Senate maize by the thugs on Tuesday. In a statement, the Minister of Information and Culture, Lai Mohammed, said the security agencies who have been directed to immediately unravel the circumstances surrounding the breach of security that led to the invasion. He said the security around the National Assembly complex would be reinforced to prevent a recurrence. Now, many people may not understand the place of the maize as a symbol of authority in the Parliament, especially when it is being carried preceding the presiding officer's entry or exit from the chamber. We recall a report by National Assembly correspondent Kenneth Nanim on the significance of the maize.
The maize, a highly ornamented staff of metal or wood, was originally a weapon of war in the Middle Age. It grew to become a symbol that represented the authority of the monarch and carries the seal of a royal emblem in the Parliament of the United Kingdom, the Ireland, and Australia. Global recognition of the maize as symbol of parliamentary authority was gained when it was first presented in 1951 to mark the Jubilee year of the Commonwealth Foundation during the reign of King George VI. The Sergeant-at-Arms is the custodian of the maize. He or she bears it and ensures its safety and maintenance. During election of presiding and principal officers of the National Assembly, the maize is usually placed in the bracket on the lower table and later on the top table when the presiding officer is finally elected. It serves as his authority and that of the Parliament. It is lowered when the members retire to the Committee of the Whole for clause-by-clause consideration of bills or motions. When not present, the Parliament is deemed not to have been adequately constituted. Any decision taken is regarded as null and void. This is why lawmakers unlawfully take possession of the maize in times of disagreement amongst themselves, especially over leadership. Ironically, on some occasions, it has been converted to inflict injuries on themselves, as it were a weapon of war in its origin.
And it is in view of this that we in the National Parliament have decided to amend our rules to show that kind of stiffer punishment. And to see you fighting over maize, and we are not showing good example, and we are leaders. We should lead by example.
Without maize, this bill will not have power, effect to become law.
It symbolizes the power that you have. So if you don't protect it, somebody else can take it away from you, and that person renders you powerless.
It's no longer surprising to see this gigantic sculpture of a maize conspicuously displayed at the entrance of the National Assembly, assuming its position as a symbol of parliamentary authority. Kenneth Nanim, NTA News.
Away from the maize-snatching incident at the Senate earlier today, now President Muhammadu Buhari has promised to create an enabling environment that will boost revenue generation in the oil and gas sector. He stated this when he met with the Shell Group in London. State House correspondent Adamu Sambo has the details.
It was a call of gratitude to President Muhammadu Buhari by the leadership of Shell Global for not only the support being rendered to the oil company under the present administration, but also the landmark progress made in the financing area for upstream investments. The Chief Executive Officer of Shell, Ben Van Beulden, described the new financing arrangement as a revival for Shell in Nigeria, hence the significant investment stepping up in deep water, Bonga Southwest, redevelopment of Bonga Main, as well as the expansion of Nigeria LNG.
I believe this is not only a very good project, but also a very timely project. We will be targeting this expansion of Nigeria LNG with up to a third of new capacity coming on stream right at the time that the world will be looking for new LNG supplies. So altogether, very strong confidence in the outlook, not only of the sector, but particularly also of the sector in Nigeria. The stability that we are looking for, I think, is something that is very much in touch and in view, and our commitment to Nigeria will therefore remain very strong.
Shell is therefore seeking the support and leadership of President Muhammadu Buhari in the successful execution of the planned investment drive in Nigeria. President Muhammadu Buhari described as pleasing the nearly $20 billion investment by Shell in the nation's economy. The federal government, he said, will continue to provide the desired incentives and conducive investment climate in the country for enhanced economic fortune.
The President did thank Shell for their faith in the country and the fact that they continue to invest even during difficult times, and looking forward eagerly to these new investments. But just say he will leave his responsible officers to go through doing their work in terms of coming up with the final acceptable terms that will benefit both the country and Shell. One issue that did arise was, of course, the ongoing arbitration proceedings that have dogged the industry, not just Shell alone. And the consensus was that parties needed to come together to try and find solutions to that so that you can restore the investor confidence that we have.
As the minister said, negotiations are now ongoing between Shell and Nigeria's NNPC on hurdles to be crossed towards arriving at mutually satisfactory terms that are equitably beneficial to both the country and the oil company. From London, Adamu Sambu, NTA News.
Adamu, that's some good news there. Staying with the CHOGM and its sidelines, President Muhammadu Buhari has challenged Commonwealth member nations to work collectively towards preserving the global trading order, supporting regional initiatives as well as domestic structural reforms so as to make business easier for sustainable economic development. Addressing world leaders at a business forum in London, the president said that firm commitment to ease of doing business by the Commonwealth will multiply wealth, expand employment opportunities and spur growth. Again, State House correspondent Adamu Sambo has the details.
In a keynote address entitled Making Business Easier Between Commonwealth Countries, President Muhammadu Buhari told his audience that the surest, most sustainable way towards lifting millions out of poverty across the Commonwealth is through boosting trade and investment.
Nigeria believes that the Commonwealth, because of its composition and experience, is uniquely positioned to grasp the opportunity to implement bold measures for trade and investment facilitation, hence making business easier between Commonwealth countries, has the potential to generate much-needed resources for sustainable development.
The foundation of prosperity and wealth of member nations, the president said, are deeply rooted in trade and investment, hence the need to ensure that markets in the Commonwealth countries remain open and undistorted.
The ongoing Nigerian experience to this end is illustrative. An enabling environment for business was and remains one of my priorities as president. Nigeria's ease of doing business are vital structural reforms that will enable our country to attract and retain investment, connect to global value chains, and maximize the benefits of an open, rules-based economy. Nigeria is and shall remain an open trading economy, deepening regional integration governed by the rule of trade law.
President Buhari said Nigeria's doors are wide open for business, and some of the lessons from the country he believes will be useful for the Commonwealth family in its drive towards making business easier as a shared responsibility for all.
President Buhari, there's great interest in your thoughts on many issues. A final thought from you.
All the questions reflect about Nigeria's preparedness to accept investment and secure the confidence of those who are going to invest or those who are already there. And before I came here, Shell Group came and saw me. They are preparing to invest $15 billion, in Nigeria. They came and broke the news to me. So really, we are not doing too badly. And I think you should get in touch with your colleagues back at home and tell them to think very clearly and positively of what this administration is doing.
The Business Forum, convened at a critical moment in the global economy, provided the opportunity for President Muhammadu Buhari to not only underscore Nigeria's commitment to spreading prosperity throughout the Commonwealth, but also share his views on matters relating to business and welfare of the Commonwealth community. From London.
And on day 3 of the Commonwealth Heads of Government meeting, African nations and the United Kingdom are appealing for a new profitable future of trade in their regions. Obiageli Ugwoke has an update.
The 2018 Commonwealth Forum in London has provided African leaders with yet another opportunity to reassure the international community of stability in their countries as they seek much-needed foreign direct investments to drive their economies. The Commonwealth Secretariat estimates that bilateral trade between members costs about 19% less than global averages, a phenomenon commonly referred to as the Commonwealth effect. The biennial meeting, CHOGM, that brings together the heads of governments of the Commonwealth 53rd member states, who this year will be taking on climate change, as well as the international development support, trade and investment, promise to assist in boosting economic development of member states. Obiageli Ugwoke, NTA News.
House of Representatives adopts constitutional amendments from states plus APC timetable for upcoming congresses and national convention. These and more after we take our first break. Stay with us.
Organization of Nigeria, SON, brings a new lease of life to Nigerian SMEs. SON has put a greater premium on developing standards aimed at improving the exports of the nation's food and cash crops. This explains why we have developed more standards for Nigeria's produce like sesame, cocoa, garri, and more, courtesy our accredited state-of-the-art laboratories. In keeping with the federal government's ease of doing business, SON has simplified its processes and turnaround time for SunCap and ManCap to reduce substandard products. tools and legal arms to prosecute offenders. Join Standards Organization of Nigeria in ridding our nation of substandard goods due to consistent market surveillance and raids. See something, say something. Standards Organization of Nigeria, improving life through standards.
Hey, Anu. Dad. Look, I got something for you.
A football chassis?
Hey, Adu, come watch a game with your uncle and I.
Please, come. I'm okay, thanks. The kind of person that you asked me to be. My brother say he love me, I love him too. I tell him I will do anything for you. But it's strange.
Just how many goals you scored?
I know get you. I look up like this, say, who are you?
So, Daddy, you showed those blues pepper yesterday, right?
You sure did.
Those 3 points are sure for us today.
Remind me how.
Game's about to start. Quickly.
Take a good look at our world today and you'll discover something interesting. More and more drivers are choosing mobile motor oils. You see, as engine performance becomes more important than ever, the vehicle owners are coming to expect more from their engine oils. They're demanding more mileage on a single oil change. They're demanding longer-lasting engines and smoother rides. They're demanding the best. And with Mobile, that's what they get. We raised the bar for motor oils with the Mobile Super 1000. And with the Mobile One, we raised it even higher. And because it's made using the most advanced engineering processes, Mobile motor oils leave your engine super clean, increase its durability, and keep it so well protected, it never stops running. So success for you depends on continuous movement. You need engine oil, engineered for that purpose. Mobile, performance at its best.
Make it mobile.
There is a reason Africa is called the new frontier. What was once potential is now an opportunity ready to be seized. Once revered for our resources, today's wealth lies in our people. People who build the cities that shape the future. People who know an idea in one place means business in another. A generation for whom technology means there are no borders, no boundaries. We are the new lions in a brave new world, kings of the urban jungle. And there's a bank that puts the world in our pocket and the future in our hands. UBA, Africa's global bank.
Caring for the patients of typhoid and diarrhea is our responsibility. And these illnesses are often spread due to eating with unclean hands. So I recommend Dettol, as it protects from up to 100 illness-causing germs. That's why I want to be Dettol sure. Dettol, be 100% sure.
Dettol soap is now also available for 100 Naira only.
Do you know that the Nigerian police now operates in the best international practices of policing? Do you know that the Nigerian police has been restructured to be more accountable and responsive to all your security challenges? Now, what the police demand from you is your trust, your collaborative efforts by providing necessary information about criminals and their activities in your neighborhood. Be vigilant. To achieve our creed as we promise, we shall police the country based on international core values of policing with integrity. We shall ensure that rule of law prevails in our actions and activities. We shall respect diversity, display courage, show compassion, and demonstrate professionalism. We shall operate within the principle of democratic policing. We shall shun corruption, and we shall make Nigeria safer and secured under the leadership of IGP Ibrahim Otum Idris.
Let the wind of change blowing across the country chase away crime for the benefit of our society. Yes, the Nigerian police says this change must come with peace and tranquility.
This message was brought to you by the Public Relations Department of the Nigerian Police Force.
Thank you for staying with us on the News Extra as we begin this segment with the FEC meeting. Briefings by ministries, departments and agencies on the implementation of approved projects continued at the Federal Executive Council meeting this Wednesday, with the Office of the Secretary to the Government of the Federation giving account that 32 states have so far benefited from the Ecological Fund Office. State House correspondent Jide Onifade reports on this and other deliberations at the meeting.
The Office of the Secretary to the Government of the Federation, with 7 different offices, presented reports of approved projects implemented and those still in progress from May 2015 to December 2017. Permanent Secretary Abiba Lawal briefed the press on some of the projects undertaken by the Ecological Fund Office. She notes have significant impact on the people.
In summary, you could say that we have 71 completed, 23 ongoing, both with the Federal Executive Council approval and the ministerial approval.
Memos that were considered by Council from Transportation Aviation. And there is one with a cost of 2,588,729,868 and 14 kobo including of all taxes, is for the purpose of AIS automation, Aeronautical Information System Automation Project. Second memorandum considered was for the provision of ILS, that is Instrument Landing System, Category 3. If you do Category 3, it means that even blindfolded, you can land an aircraft with zero visibility.
The Ministry of Power Works and Housing today presented 2 memos to Council. One is for reconstruction of a road from Bidda Lapai, Lambala Road in Niger State.
Lambata.
It's Lambata, is it?
Yes.
In Niger State. It is about 123.9 kilometers.
The work they have done, how much they have achieved with approvals given by the Federal Executive Council. It's a voluminous report and excellently done.
Minister of Interior Abdurrahman Bello Dambazo presented 3 memoranda on public safety and internal security. 2 of these memos are for the purchase of operational vehicles and equipment for the Federal Fire Service. Minister of Interior Abdurrahman Bello Dambazo also briefed the press on what government is doing to put an end to cross-border crimes.
Initiated the conference that is to come up between 26th and 29th of this month on the ECOWAS protocol on free movement of persons, goods, and services, zeroing particularly on the protocol on the movement of transhumans, which was signed in 1978, were yet to be implemented.
On the heels of the violent protest by the Shiite sect in the FCT, the minister said everything is under control and assured residents of adequate protection. In the State House, Jide Onifade, NT News.
In politics, the All Progressives Congress APC has officially released the schedule of activities for congresses and the National Convention. National Organizing Secretary of the party, Ositai Zunazo, says local and state congresses committees will soon be inaugurated ahead of the activities due to commence on the 2nd of May 2018. Salihu Abdullahi reports.
According to the schedule of activities, World Congresses will hold on the 2nd May 2018 to elect World Executive Committee. On Thursday, 3rd May 2018, will be a day for appeals arising from conduct of World Congresses. Saturday, 5th May 2018, will be for local government congresses to elect Local Government Executive Committee and 3 delegates to the National Convention. These will be followed with appeals arising from the local government congresses on May 7th, 2018. On Wednesday, 9th May 2018, will be the day for state congresses to elect state executive committee members. The appeals will hold the next day, Thursday, 10th May 2018. Monday, 14th May 2018 is the date for the National Convention, where national officers to the National Executive Council of the APC will be elected.
The guideline for the election, Congress election, is out already, and it will be in the APC website.
Senator Izunaso called on party supporters across the country to cooperate with members of the Congress's committee, assuring that all processes will be conducted in line with the party and nation's constitutions. In Abuja, Salihu Abdullahi, NTA News.
We return to the National Assembly now for the usual business of the day, as the process of the amendment of the Nigerian Constitution by the National Assembly has taken a significant leap as the House of Representatives adopts returns from the state's Houses of Assembly on the Constitution Alteration Bills 2018. This development has showcased the inclusive nature of Nigeria's democracy in a federal structure, with all tiers of government having a stake in the system. 35 states voted in favor of 12 Constitution Amendment clauses transmitted to them by the National Assembly. Ignatius Nkwo reports.
The National Assembly had passed 15 of the constitutional alteration bills and transmitted same to the state houses of assemblies for their input in accordance with constitutional provision. 12 of these bills were passed by 35 states of houses of assemblies and returned. These include the Bill for the Financial Autonomy of State Legislature and Reduction of Age for Elective Positions, also known as Not Too Young to Run Bill.
Constitutional Fourth Alteration Bill number 28, timeline for the presentation of appropriation bills, yes, 27 states, no 6 states, abstain 2 states.
The members passed through second reading a bill seeking to repeal the Nigeria Industrial Development Bank, sponsored by Representative Dozie Nwankwo from Anambra State.
This law is very, very obsolete. Allowing the law to remain in our status book is something that will not give way to the new realities on ground.
The motion on the need to reconstruct the Olakwa Imerienwe Ozuzu Eche Road, moved by Representative Bid Eke from Imo State, and the one by Representative Gaza Bwefi from Nasarawa State, on the need to stop illegal mining activities in Uke, Karshi River in Karu local government area of Nasarawa State, were adopted. The House in the Committee of the Whole considered and approved the report of its Committee on Capital Market and Institutions on the suspended Director General of Security and Exchange Commission, which recommended that the suspension should stand, while the Commission should recall 2 of its suspended staff, Anastasia Brimo and Naif Abdusalam. Well, after the day's plenary session, the Chairman House Committee on Media and Public Affairs, Representative Abdurazak Namdas, briefed National Assembly correspondents on the next stage of the constitutional alteration bills returned by the State House of Assemblies.
That today we have passed successfully 12 clauses in the constitutional amendment. And by the grace of God, this will go to the President and we will await his assent in the next 1 month.
Representative Namdas explained that Lagos State did not vote on the 12 constitutional amendment bills. From the National Assembly, Ignatius Nkwo, NTA News.
As normalcy also returned to the floor of the Senate following the disturbance, the Senate resumed the business of the day and adopted 2 motions moved by Senator representing Zamfara Central, Kabir Marafa, and Senator representing Ebonyi North, Sam Egu. This bordered on inclusion of their states in the federal government's grain distribution scheme. National Assembly correspondent Dennis Adegunloye reports.
The senator representing Zamfara Central, Kabir Marafa, noted the well-thought-out initiative by the federal government to distribute, through the National Emergency Management Agency, grains to internally displaced persons in some states in the north. He urged the government to extend this goodwill to IDPs in Zamfara State.
We are not against any state of the country benefiting from any program of the federal government, but we feel we must be treated fairly. Our silence under the fact that we don't concentrate these people into camps does not mean that we don't have these problems.
Zamfara should also be included because there are victims of crisis there. I support this motion to include in the amendment that the quantity of food, 1, be increased, and 2, it should clearly be stated as grains that will be supplied or distributed to internally displaced people in Nigeria.
Senator Sam Egu, Ebonyi North, moved a similar motion.
To call on the National Emergency Management Agency, NEMA, to immediately intervene through the provision of relief materials and inclusion of other victims of communal crisis in the various IDP camps in Ebonyi State.
Several bills were considered for second reading, including a bill for an act to establish the National Assembly Budget and Research Office, and that to amend the provisions of the Electoral Act of 2010 to make provisions for sequence of elections in Nigeria.
I believe that the right thing for us is not to legislate on the sequence, but to support INEC to conduct very free, fair, and transparent elections.
Plenary was subsequently adjourned to Thursday, 19th of April 2018. From the National Assembly, Dennis Adignoye, NTA News.
Away from the National Assembly for now, there are always many dimensions to any issue. Now, the herders-farmers conflict is no different, and there are many ways of resolution as there are many causes. The redesigning of the present nomadic education scheme has been identified as a way of addressing the conflict. The first national conference on the dynamics of pastoral nomadism in contemporary Nigeria, which held in Gombe State, agrees that a new design will enhance optimal performance. How this will help in resolving the herders-farmers clash, Ladi David John will tell us.
The conference, organized by the Federal University Kashere, is another approach towards finding lasting solutions to the problem of clashes between farmers and herders in the country. Speakers at the gathering dwelled on looking back to where the problem began and the need to make necessary changes to arrest the situation.
Since independence, with the discovery of oil, everything was forgotten. And so all this unbridled urbanization came to build houses on cattle lands, came to build houses on what were forest reserves.
Government must open up more schools so that these pupils will be educated, and once they are educated, we will break the chain of this illiteracy and conflict.
We want to look at the theoretical, practical, and scientific ways of ameliorating the problem that has existed between pastorals and farmers.
Participants described the conference as timely, appealing to the government and all stakeholders to come together to end the destruction of lives and property in the country. With the theme, The Dynamics of Pastoral Nomadism in Contemporary Nigeria, Problems, Policies and Prospects. In Gombe, Ladi David John, NTA News.
And competition for scarce resources have always been the bane of conflicts, which result in the survival of the fittest among farmers and herders. This is influenced by historical, ecological, economic and climate change. As a means of finding a lasting solution to this conflict, a stakeholders dialogue on the eradication of the herders and farmers conflicts in Nigeria is underway in Abuja. Olajide Bello tells us more.
Farmers and herders conflicts can be attributed to population expansion, desertification, and limited land for cultivation, as well as other deteriorating environmental conditions. Breakdown in traditional conflict resolution mechanisms and proliferations of small arms and crimes in rural areas is also not helping matters. These insecurity and violence have led to creation of self-defense forces and ethnic militias, which have caused further devastation. This gathering by the Alumni Association of the National Institute and Presidential Committee on Proliferation of Light Arms and Small Weapons is to identify the nature of the crisis and provide practical recommendations for a lasting solution.
We would like to reiterate the commitment of the Alumni Association of the National Institute to continue to be actively engaged in national discourse, aim at finding solutions to the major challenges facing our dear nation.
In spite of the substantial efforts at regulating proliferation of weapons in the region and elsewhere in Africa, several non-state actors, including herders and farmers, have continued to have access to small arms and light weapons and as such, our communities continue to be awash with these deadly weapons.
The dialogue is to come up with a blueprint to restore the cordial relationship between farmers and herders and foster national peace. In Abuja, Olajide Bello, NTA News.
And joining me in the studio now to discuss this worrisome issue is Khalil Bolaji. He is the President, Alumni Association of the National Institute, ANI. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
Now, how effective is the 2006 ECOWAS Convention on Small and Light Weapons in curbing proliferation and then preventing things like this?
I believe it's not effective enough because the amount of small arms you have within the Nigerian state is so much that it's worrisome. And I believe we need to do more in terms of curbing and especially our porous borders in this respect.
ANI has been doing a lot of dialogues and seminars, and apart from that, what else can you do to help in bringing this to an end or drastically reducing it?
Well, this